DM gone. No roleplay anymore. What the fuck?
Jens, with your escapades of peaceful and not so peaceful protests, you find yourself heavily influential locally. Word is spread about you and through the communities you find yourself surrounded by. Sometimes in your work, if you could call it such, you find yourself being recognized by common folk. Seems your look, your actions, and even more, your weapon, has been spread by word of mouth. This has gotten to the point in which you'd even been contacted a couple times asking for assistance as though you're some kind of savior. In fact, recently, a paperboy had been seeking you out for a little while, a letter being placed upon your hand. It was this ornamental, bright red paper that was made with a blue wax seal, seeming to represent a horse in the middle of a bucking off a rider. The letter detailed of a certain Stillheoul city that was infested with industrialization. They've been in the streets peacefully protesting for weeks on weeks with no results. It's gotten to the point where when they walk outside and step in filth from the garbage men disrespecting their homestead, this person wants you to come help and talk to a certain man, Din Julio, about his company known as Chasing Tail. Apparently this Chasing Tail company had been taking animals from their previous habitats just to sell their meats or ornaments, only for the waste to end up in the streets. It's filthy. It's disgusting. A line from the letter reads, Jens, you're inspiring in your work. Your help could mean the world. And most of all, it might finally make an impact. Signed, Ernan Cole.
May I put up some set dressing for the moment?
Yes.
Jens would read over this letter on the wood-top table of a rather cozy local village inn. It was a simple board, basic dining area with a few picnic table-style seating arrangements alongside a boxy little one-room suite for those who are willing to pay for the night. Next to him is some candlelight that he reads over, as a warm glow emancipates the inside of the room, the exterior being a rather dreary sunny morning. Jens raises his fingers to his chin where he scratches a newly added chin dusting, a scratch of a soul patch, if you will. And a grin forms upon his lips as he looks outside, his eyes drifting over, somewhat, how do you say, amusedly, as he sees a horse pass by outside, carrying a carriage. The village he was in was one he'd been working with for the past week, at least. Okay, thank you. One he'd been working with for the past week, hunting down a local co-op attempting to buy up farms in the area and run the owners out that didn't want to pay or didn't want to submit to the man, so to speak. It was a successful, non-violent protest. His favorite. And as he watches the horse go by outside, his eyelids droop a bit in a rather nostalgic kind of way. Another day, another dollar. Or maybe trouble just seems to follow me wherever I go. And would turn over, standing up from the bench and folding the letter back up neatly. He's gained a bit of an attire change, by the by. Our young man no longer simply rocks the tank top with the orange tied sweatshirt around his brown pants. No, the brown pants remain, but the orange sweatshirt has been done away with. Replaced with a white long sleeve, however a unique one, where one sleeve is long and the other sleeve seems to have been cut off at about the forearm length. Around the neck and head of Mr. Jens now lays a green poncho. Upon its back, as it drapes down over his back, are the symbols of what he refers to as the New Revolution. But what those from his local town would know is simply the old logo of his family farm, with a few new additions to suit the purpose, some stars, and maybe a few stripes. He walks over to... At this, he tucks away the letter and steps over to a counter at the front of the inn before setting down a few coin, passing it forward. This is enough to clear my tab.
Tab. Your shit was cleared the moment you walked in. Go on.
No. I insist. I appreciate it, though.
If you're sure. The clerk would only take half the coin, sliding it under the table into his own lap.
Jens would simply walk away from any of the rest as he waves a hand back. Oh, and tell the missus I say hello. And, you were asking for ideas about that old, planning room. Since you won't be needing it anymore, how's about a clubhouse for the kids?
A clubhouse? That'd be beautiful for the kids to have play dates. Good thinking there, Jens, as he puts his finger up to his temple and taps a couple times.
Great minds think alike, my friend. Take care, he says with a wave, stepping out the door as he lifts the green hood over his head. With one destination in mind, no matter how he gets there. Another day, another week, another month, another revolution to be had in the favor of the working man. Stillheoul City.
You travel for maybe the next, how you say, couple of days as you find yourself carting once on a carriage. This guy on a taxi that sees you walking alongside the road carries you about half a mile before he has to turn off the street and, well, go home.
Hey, thank you.
It's getting a bit dreary nowadays. It's getting into the fall months, in fact. A bit colder outside. It's no longer t-shirt and tank top weather. Instead, you find yourself having to actually wear a long sleeve for once, your breath being visible in the air. Eventually,
as he walks along a solemn path on his travel, we briefly get a view of Yen stepping through a rather natural zone, filled with trees along this nature trail path that have now been snowed over and... Oh, not snowed over, it's autumn. What am I talking about? That have now changed to the fiery autumn colors as he passes by, a rainbow silhouette. And as he goes, we see him blow the cold air into smoke in front of his face. As it passes by with the wind, he smiles, but the nature is still there around him, still there to be enjoyed. As he continues onward.
Continuing on through your travels, I'm not going to describe much of this as this was not the intention for the session, and also because I don't want to be here all night. As your travels conclude, relatively peaceful. There's not much in the streets in between cities. Maybe you helped another person whose wagon got stuck in a ditch or something similar to that. But eventually, Jens makes it to the entrance of Stillheoul City. Already from the outside, you can tell that this place is, well, industrialized. It appears to be a large wall, or at the least gates, around the entire outside of the place, being these large metal structures touching the skies with glimmers all across. Dirt and grass beneath your feet dying in the late fall weather. It's a bit chilly out, today especially, as opposed to the previous days of travel. You make it to this outside gate as you can see a window going in. A tall man. This tall man is a short lad with a curled mustache and a rough grey cap, seeming to be balding underneath as he yaps up at you through the bit of thin glass. 15 quid, lad. He hadn't looked up from his newspaper that stated, Stillheoul Daily News, drillings in our forest detail about a new type of... As it trails off into jargon, the man would tap on the metal desk separating you two. The toll booth would beep for a moment as a man ahead of you would get access in, the revolving bars unlocking and locking back in place afterward.
Jens would look over to the man as he steps inside. We had to take a moment earlier, double-check that he was in the right place. But once he read the note again, we'd have to question if he might have been too late. The city was practically a fortress. entire forest of its own, made of cobblestone and rock. Steel, labor, that sort of thing. Type of place that smelled of nothing but smog and bad times. Nevertheless, Yen steps up to the desk, looking at the man through the toll booth, before simply taking out his pouch, his head somewhat ducked to let the hood shadow his face, as he simply lays out the requested amount of currency, that 15, as he sets that down on the table and slides it forward.
You would look up from the newspaper finally, sliding the bits of money over the desk as he looked up at you, this sort of mean look on his face. "You new here, lad?"
It has a quaint, ambient smile about his face, not too wide, not too joyous, idle, as he speaks. "Oh, I tend to travel. But yes."
"Just 5 more quid then."
Now where did that tax come from?
"From being new, and I gotta remember your face now."
Perhaps we could waive such a tax. And maybe I won't inform the next few people, or perhaps the authorities about said tax.
You would see him squint upward, meeting your shadowed face. "You drive a hard bargain." As you would hear a pedal click as the bars in front of you would unlock.
Just to see we have good company in this city. Thank you, my friend. Ends with the same ambient smile as he steps away, going through the gate.
As you go through the gate, you would see this, well, evidently, probably the worst industrialization of a city you could make out. From this immediate pathway, you see a trolley running up the middle of the street, having its own rails and little bit of a fencing around it. You can see in the air built-up smog as way far off in the distance you can see some interesting buildings, to say the least. I'm not stalling to find it in my lore. As you would see the clouds overhead are a bit gray, almost readying for a rain. The streets are very active, very lively. Off in the far distance, we see lights of the higher economy district within the subsect of Stillheoul. A bright casino with those new neon adornments all up on the front of the building, labeled Pecunia Deluxe, seeming to have the outfitting of a casino. That tall, fancy apartment-like structure, with the design practically begging for customers to waste their lives at it. Coming in a bit closer, we see a church in the middle of the street. It doesn't seem mistreated necessarily, but it's certainly made with love. Boarded up windows with crosses and sheets covering them, having their lord on the outside in little cheap porcelain and plastic structures. Just a bit further, we see a bar, almost to oppose the church, named the Cinco Amigo Barracios, or the Drunk Five Buddies. Seems to have an authentic Mexican appeal to it. Plants on the outside, kept well even in the elements, coated in pale browns, bright greens and oranges, and even some accenting pinks. You make it to the police station, fuck.
I go to the police.
Ignore that sentence. Yes, turn yourself in.
You are gay. I'm bawling too hard.
He's bawling too hard. Ignore that. Something else you would see is, on the other side of the street, this bar named Hail Mary. Wow, I am struggling this morning. It's called Ale Mary.
You just described an entire city.
It's named Ale Mary, and it seems to have this heavily Western appeal to it. The two revolving front doors that seem to be completely opened.
Note from earlier, as I proceed through this city. First I gotta say, a city full of advertisements, casinos, smog, and booze. Yeah, we hit the fucking jackpot with this one, boys. This bitch is in deep. And by deep, let's just say the Bermuda Triangle pit. Anyhow, that note that I read earlier, or any other clue I might have been given along the way, did it happen to mention a meeting location of any sort?
It did
The old
not.
boy, as one might assume, would prefer not to spend
Might cut up.
not spend too much time around the Ides of capitalism.
It did not mention anything about a meeting place, but Jens, once you left the tolling booth, you'd notice as people around you, they'd avoid eye contact with you, purposely getting out of your way in which you were standing. You couldn't really make out if it was fear, respect, or something else entirely, but whatever it was nice to have some space.
Jens's eyes would brush around the local folk. I assume not all of them would react to his presence. He wasn't quite that famed. However, seeing the people who did back off was a bad sign. His eyes curled around, carefully caressing the scene for any constables or otherwise crude members of the civility team.
You'd look around for a bit, but in this immediate era, the most sketchy person seemed to be in an alleyway with a smoke, talking with a few of his boys. They seemed like the typical goons. Grayish brown pants with suspenders going up to their white and black striped shirts. Those little brown hats that coated most of their hair. They looked like those typical, shake you down men. Though right now they were standing off idols. You know, the Raddleums.
Jens would take the note from his coat, or not his coat, rather, his poncho, and give it a once-over, not quite opening it, but just kind of whipping it in his hand for a moment. Kind of like his lips pursing as he considers his situation.
Din Julio with the company chasing tail.
Din Julio, with the company chasing tail. Well, the matter de facto is that a quadrant resolution doesn't start on its own. Not like the old boy could simply waltz up to any old corporate factory and politely ask them to stop. This was a structured thing. It took time and care. And allies. After a moment of consideration, the question, if I were an anti-capitalist, where would I be? Jens's head turns as he gazes back down the road, stowing the note, making his way back toward the old church.
Okay. As
Chasing Tail is a hell of a name for a company, by the way. May as well call your CEO of operations a pimp named Slickback.
You have no idea.
We better shut down the pimp operation!
You would make it to the likes of this church. It doesn't seem to have a name, or if it once did, it was worn down. This is the church that had, right next to it, Ale Mary. As you would look into the church, its service times didn't seem to be currently open. Of course, they were open Sunday all day, but that'd be great if it was Sunday. Otherwise, it operates in the early morning up until 4 p.m., the end of the workday.
What was it right now?
About 6:58 p.m.
Oh, wonderful. Does it close after a certain amount of time?
Yes.
Did it close?
About 3 hours ago.
Wait, you said it closes at the end of the workday?
Yeah, it closes at 4 p.m. at the start of the workday. Or around the end of the workday, sorry. Far.
Wait.
4 p.m.
Sorry, I'm processing. If it closes at 4 p.m. and 4 p.m. is around the end of the workday, that means people get out, they go to the church, and then they're like, sorry guys, we're closed, and they leave. um, Jens would look to the Ale Mary, and then look back to the church. Quite frankly, coming from the old town, the gentleman couldn't help but feel a little bit disdained at the idea that a boozery should be tucked in so close to the old church. I mean, quite frankly, this old church should be out in a field, not stuck in a castle town. However, I guess that's just the way the cookie crumbles. As Jens takes a few steps forward, heading toward the door of the church, is there a window to the interior on that door? Monsieur?
As was described earlier, the church has these boards and sheets on each window that were covered with, well, visions of their lord.
Let's get a closer look at this religious propaganda, actually. What does it actually say on it?
God damn it. One moment. Me as I frantically rifle through my notes.
Me on my way to Jens investigate religion. My character is gay.
One of the things you would see is American Bible Study, Bible House Astor Place. Put the church behind perishing. To win this war, the boys at the front need strength of spirit. Fear not, for I am with thee, and will help thee.
Jens just turned his head to the door again. All his fist, and then rap his knuckle on the door 3 times. A knock it, a knock it, a knock.
You'd stand there for about 40 seconds awkwardly with no reply.
The try, I suppose. He would step away from the door and then step back out toward the sidewalk on the street. He'd look up and down either side of the street before looking to the Ale Mary. His eyes would turn down to the door of the Ale Mary. And, pray tell, Shoddy, is that bitch a fucking saloon door? Like the little, like, flap
the
doors?
2
Oh,
flap gates.
Shit! Alright. Okay. I'm thinking. Does it appear to also be an inn?
Yes.
Okay, Jens is gonna step over with the Ale Mary.
Mm-hmm.
And upon approaching the Ale Mary, we gonna step inside.
As you step inside, there's about 6 round tables all scattered around the place. On the inside, it's this heavy wood feel that contrasts from the industrial metal of the outside. A bar in the middle of the establishment pushed all the way up with a bunch of stools lining it, as well as 2 stairs on either side of the bar going up. There's also 2 places behind the bar that seem to be, well, one, a private inn, as well as a just back space kitchen area. Currently, the place was, a little bit full. There was maybe like a good 9 or 10 people in here, along with the barman. The barman being this big built guy at about 6.5 feet with white hair. Though he seemed to be with a plastic halo over his head and rings all across his fingers, a little cross across his neck, in this very fine suit, mind you. He seemed to be an older gentleman, maybe in his 60s, his 50s. as when you
All right.
enter, you see him raise up his arms. Welcome to Hail Mary. I'm Mr. Mary.
Check there. Holy shit, it's Mr. Mary! Jens would raise a hand and smile over as he waves. Hello, hello. Pleasure to be, he says as he makes his way toward the bar counter. And before we continue, I'd like to ask you a few things.
Yes.
Few simple questions. Number one, out on the street, the general crowd, what are they like? Are they malnourished? Are they generally built? Are we talking about a lot of laborers? Or do we see maybe many rich people on the street? What's the general vibe of the crowd in this town?
In this area, you definitely see some thinner, some thicker, some healthy, some not so. Maybe a druggie every once in a while in between the streets. It's a mixed bag for sure, and it seems to be based off of whether or not people are covered in soot.
Sorry, your description just reminded me of New York.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kinda.
yeah. or California. The clientele inside this bar. More specifically, what do they appear to be like? The folks sitting at the tables. Do they appear to be folks who are tired after a day of work? Are they the rather
people-
wealthy clientele? Are they
These
sexy?
people
Are there
seem
any
to
hot
be
men?
yes. People seem to be the healthy
Sorry,
people.
I forgot about Mr. Mary.
Yes, Mr. Mary is very attractive.
Mr. Mary.
But the people inside here seem to be more acquainted with a type you have seen before, but not to this degree. Sort of like gang members or posses. In fact, you see this group in the corner. It's 3 guys with red hair, all seeming to have the black tank top, the black pants, chains around their belts. Even one of them looks like he has a jester cap, seeming to be quote-unquote the leader of them. You can see as he's currently scarfing down a bit of fried food. It looks like bread balls as he's stuffing them in his face and talking through it. There's a bunch of tattoos over his arms, tattoos you haven't seen before, seeming to be spindly little lines, though they were arranged in such ways that looked like smoke streams.
Jens passes by, not paying too much mind to the rather feverous fellow. As he approaches the bar counter and leans onto it, tossing a few coin forward. Whiskey?
Whiskey? Rocks?
Oh, please.
Alright. You know what kind you like?
Oh, something with a little bit more flavor, please. As he says this, Jens would give the hey smile over to Mr. Mary.
Yeah, okay.
Hey.
You're getting a honey apple fruity boy. As he reaches under the table, pulling up this, what seemed to be glass apple as he shakes it a bit before putting it in front of you with a shot of vodka. Complimentary.
Much appreciated.
Cheers,
Keep anything
boy.
spare. He would nod before lifting the glass to his lips and taking a sippy sip, before lowering it from his lips again. How's business?
Business is wonderful. I'm still in it, so.
Isn't that just the dream?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yes.
See, the funny thing about Hail Mary is that we advertise ourselves as a religious biz, so all those fuckers from the church who get off early, they come over here for, the blood of their Christ and the wafers of their Lord. It's not a
You don't sound
scam,
so
though, because I'm
enthusiastic about
Mr. Mary.
Oh, of course, naturally. You don't sound so enthusiastic about it, though. You're not been studying your Bible?
I'm not a, how you say, devoted Christman, you know?
Neither would I be.
I believe in the
He says
holy, I
he did
believe in the
understand.
God, but God do I not follow him. I'm for sure going to hell even if I say Yahweh is my man.
The Bible is a confusing book, my friend. I wouldn't count yourself out so quickly. They say a murderer can make their way to heaven as long as they repent. Isn't that just the damnedest thing?
You'd see as Mr. Mary would lean a bit on the counter as he'd be about a foot away from you, a stool away even. Repentance ain't my thing. I'd rather live life while I got it. You know, I'm still young, as he sort of drags his fingers across the bit of wrinkles across his face.
I respect that. But repentance and death don't have to be in the... Why am I Spanish? Repentance and death don't have to be in the same sentence.
I suppose.
Very busy this evening. Or is it just these ones?
Not so. It ain't late enough to where the work folk coming in. They still in their factories, you know. We usually get a rush about 11.
It's rather late to let out, don't you think?
Not so. I come here, I live here, I work here. I'm a 24/7 job.
Do you enjoy it?
Oh, I love every fucking part of it. Each of you dumbasses that come in here and fuel my days is worth it. You see that guy in the corner there? The one with the funny looking hat? That's Rudo Cerebrick. That goofball is, well, let's just say he's, smarter than he looks. That's for sure. He acts like a fool, but that's because he can get away with it.
You don't seem to make too much of the working man or the church man. At least not enough to call them smart. What makes him
Not
different?
one bit. That one up there, he's street smart. He knows how to get places. You know what I'm saying? I'm a bit guilty to admit it. He's saved my ass a couple times, which is why I still let him in here no matter what he does. Bit of an asshole.
Sounds like a right troublemaker.
You have no idea.
No, I suppose I wouldn't. Though I have to say your clientele isn't exactly the least colorful. You would say as he motions around to the general dining room with its, yes. How do I say? Those over there at the tables. Those. He doesn't motion with a full-ass hand. He motions simply with the nod of his head toward the dining room.
Well, when you're the best damn bar in town, you kind of attract a lot of different types of folks. We definitely get some color in here, whether it be their skin, their hair, their hats. Their personalities especially.
You must know them pretty well.
Oh, I know all my clients, which is why I, immediately draw you over here. Because I don't know you yet.
Oh. Perhaps if you join me for a drink, we could do introductions.
I've been drinking on the job since 6 a.m. Sure, why the hell not? As he'd pull himself up this, what seemed to be extremely hard-looking liquor. It was this massive glass bottle, maybe about the size of his forearm. My door! My door! Okay, bet. I will be back in 3 minutes.
No! Mr. Mary, come back here! You're the monster! Get back here and scare me! You and I go hard at each other like we're going to war. You and I get sick. We keep throwing things and slamming in doors. You and I think it's so damn dysfunctional. We start keeping score. You and I get sick. Yeah, I know that we can't take this no more. Yeah, well, here we go again. Here we go again. It's about you. And I keep driving my truck over to your house with work to do. And you keep looking at my body, but I'm just trying to get my tools. Something. Running back to. Oh, what the fuck?
I'm back.
Hello.
Where was I? Yes. You see him pull out a bottle of Baijiu, or Baijiu, as people around here call
By
it.
Jove.
You see that the ABV is about 36% as he points the label to you. It's made out of this flavorful grain, and it's most often sipped slowly, but you see as he takes out a shot glass and begins pouring as he continues to speak to you. So let's start like this. I'm Mr. Mary. That's what you call me. That's what my name is. What's yours?
Jens would raise his glass in the direction of the gentleman, or cheer as he speaks. I choose to go by J. Broodstone. The J is a single letter.
What if I... He would look you up and down. Short for... Jeremy.
Oh, but close.
Shit. As he would snap his fingers, downing the shot with a sour look.
Shoddy would sip his honey apple like the little fruit he was.
Oh, shit. Alright, Jay. What happened to G?
Oh, G. Let me tell you. He went on a very special adventure of his own. Got caught up in the wrong place, walked down the wrong alley, and you know what happens from there.
He grew
2
legs
weeks
and
walk and
ran
he ends
away.
up in Kansas.
I was told he grew legs and ran away.
Well, G.
You're telling me that?
I guess that would be what happened to G.
Oh, Jay Willikers. As he downs another shot, slightly choking on it from laughing at his own joke, slamming his hand against the wood table with a hearty... I like you,
So-
Jay.
Much appreciated, Mr. Mary. You're not so bad yourself. But tell me, how long have you been running this joint?
How long I been an adult? About 46 years.
Really? Well, be damned.
Ever since
The
I could
religious
buy it, I've been
paraphernalia.
selling it. Though I guess this joint specifically, I only worked at it for 46. Got it after the old man passed. Not my old man, the old man. The original Mr.
I
Mary.
understand. Oh, so it's a hereditary title. Or a lineage.
Something like that.
You wear it with pride?
I wear it
What am I saying?
with
Of
gusto.
course you do. Now that, I can cheer to. Okay. So the religious getup, is that a choice, or just going along with the brand?
Mr. Mary. You know, Ale Mary? You know, Hail Mary? You know, like that.
Oh no, I get it, I get
Yeah.
it. Just thought I'd ask. Making small talk, Mr. Mary. The guild of the fools, he says as he eases himself on the desk and takes another sip from his vodka.
How about instead of small talk, we make some big talk? What you here for, Jay? What you in this city for?
There's only one thing to be found in a city. Mr. Mary, I come here for the same reason that every lost soul who wanders in through these gates do. Do you know what that is? He says with a sly grin.
False reprieve?
Opportunity. He says as he tips the glass in the man's direction.
He is completely stone-faced, not believing it for a fucking second. Well, you're gonna find out the hard way, it's what I said.
Well, you're always such a bore when it comes to good jokes.
Good. A good joke makes me laugh. Therefore, it's good. That joke was, you'll find out why it's bad.
And his face kind of darkens at this. His brows raising somewhat.
This
Sounds like
city
a
ain't the
testament.
best.
Well, what city is?
You would see him, instead of pouring another shot, raise the bottle to what you said, taking 1, 2, 3. Before putting it down hard enough that you see the little handle sort of crevice a bit, denting in towards his fingers. I'll fucking drink to that.
I'd like to analyze this man's state of intoxication.
He seems incredibly resistant to alcohol. At the moment, he's definitely tipsy, but he's not drunk.
I want you to know that I imagine Mr. Mary is being built like fucking Helltaker if he got like compressed in Photoshop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's built. He is chunked.
What a guy.
He is,
honestly, he puts the Mr. and Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Or Mr. Mary. I wonder if there's a Mrs. Mary. Sorry. Said it out loud. Jens would kind of smile and nod, somewhat appeasingly, as the man says he can drink to that. As Jens would reach his glass over and tap the bottom of it against his bottle. I think. I got it. Well, if you can drink to that, Mr. Mary, perhaps you wouldn't mind a few questions of my own?
How about we, how you say, exchange questions? You ask, I ask, you ask, I ask, he asks, you ask, I ask.
Bit back and forth, I can do that. I'll start. Who are these gentlemen in your dining room? Specifically the one over there. Tattoos. Guns. Go on.
Like I said earlier, that's Rudo Cerebric, as he would sort of nod his head, telling you to look at him.
I'm not talking about Rudo Cerebro, I'm talking about the tattooed guy from earlier.
That is Rudo Cerebric.
Wait, what? Isn't Rudo Cerebric standing with like a hat? Did the tattoo guy have a hat?
That is the Jester, the leader of the gang. Go look in visual refs, I responded to it.
What the Sigma? Hold on, bro. No way. Guys, I'm the worst role player in this server, on God.
You're good.
Oh, when you said hat, I somehow imagined a man with a fedora.
Jester's hat.
Okay, my bad. I don't actively check visual refs enough, clearly.
No, you're good.
Okay,
Don't worry
cool.
about
Jesus Christ, dude. What about K-pop Demon Hunters?
it. Bro.
Bad. Let's think. Alright. Okay, cool. Never mind then. Who else is in the dining room then that I could ask about?
Well, it's those
Few other
four red-haired guys. There's this man in what seemed to be complete winter gear, wearing a ski mask, a white hoodie, gloves, all those sorts. There seems to be a guy in like this biker's leather jacket. He has a darker complexion to his skin. Oops. There's a blondie with what seemed to be a white and red suit and black suit. Oh, you kind of recognize him. Why does he look familiar?
Hello, Lewis.
No, that's Win.
When?
Win Calistra from the Hunter exam.
My. I don't think I ever spoke to him properly. They probably wouldn't recognize me. Anyway. Jens would kind of just garner this information for his question before passing it back to Mr. Mary. Alright, thank you. Now yours.
What you gonna do next once you leave this bar?
Well, Miss Mary, it's like I said, I'm here for opportunity. Once I leave this bar, the intention is to find it and then go from there.
Specific.
Well, maybe you wouldn't happen to know if this town has a union. Workers' union, perhaps a history with unions.
A workers' union? No.
Perhaps a fledgling one. Inge's eyes remain strictly on the dining room as he says this, his head tilting slightly over toward the direction of Mr. Mary as he leans with his back to the counter.
Closest we got to that is an FOL. The Federation of Labor.
I can't imagine a federation like that would make it far in this city.
Why do you say that?
Not sure what tipped me off either. Plumes of smoke or the cobbled streets. Perhaps the fact that there's an advertisement.
You
4
misunderstand
blocks
me.
within the church.
This Federation of Labor, they ain't against it. They for it. It's an umbrella organization. Sort of a
Following
congress of industrial organizations.
Oh, joy.
Yeah, they believe in the bread and butter of higher pay for whoever think deserves it. They've actually helped me out a couple times. I can't complain about them. It's in my contract. They ain't the nicest people, though. Only if they like you, they help you.
I see. Aside from that, I think your question is somewhat moot, Mr. Mary. I don't think I'll be leaving this bar tonight. I need house and board. It's getting late.
Okay. I don't know if you want to stick up and, as he would check his watch, it's only about 7:30. I don't think you need to sleep yet. I'll reserve a room for you whenever you come back. I don't think you're staying here for the whole night, are you?
Likely not.
I'll reserve a room for you then.
Well, let me be clear, that's not because of the company. He says he gives a much more normal smile over toward the merry man.
He'd chuckle a moment, closing his eyes and taking one more shot before putting it back under the bar, and you'd see him take out a beer. He puts it in a tanker, cracking open the bottle with his thumb as he pushes it into the tin, letting it drain out in the tankard as he speaks again. Next question I want to ask you. Why are you concealing your identity with that hood? Ain't common around here to hide.
And looks over to Mr. Mary. Raises his brows slightly. Lifts his hand. And lowers the hood.
Fair enough, I suppose.
It's not that deep, Mr. Mary. It was just windy when I got here.
Know what? He'd put both of his hands up. My bad.
Oh, no, it's not every day you see a man walking around in a green poncho with my sort of outfitry. However, I have to say, I think my aesthetics are rather on point. Question for you, then. The biggest player in this city, having to do with the industry. What company would you say that would be?
The biggest company in the city?
Yes.
God damn. That's all. There's so many that it's really hard to tell. Though if we're just talking buildings in general, Pecunia Deluxe is definitely up there. That casino off in the distance, I'm sure you saw it on your way in.
No, I don't think anybody could miss it, Mr. Mary.
That's definitely up there. Though there's also, Volcair. Volcair is the biggest metalworking and sort of urgy kind of thing around here. They operate on the south side of the city, and they make basically everything that has to do with that big rock. I suppose another one's definitely gotta be Chasing Tails up there. They provide me with all my meat.
Chasing Tail? What a name.
Yeah. It's a meat packing plant. Chasing Tail.
Is it now?
Yes, sir.
Meatpacking plant in a place like this. How long have they been here?
Oh, shit. Probably solid 35 years. They're actually one of the newer big businesses, all things considered.
Really? I see.
Between you and me,
You have any?
I'm pretty sure they got some underhanded shit going on, but hey, I can't say none.
Jens would pause for a moment on this before kind of whipping his glass forward again toward the man. Between you and me. What if you didn't say anything, but I just so happened to overhear a man thinking out loud?
You would see the reddish orange eyes of Mr. Mary darken as he'd take up his own beer, putting it against your glass. The sort of stagnant, straight face of Mr. Mary turning into a bit more of a frown. You can see the highlight of the scar across his lips sort of flicker for a moment, the shine of his rings across his hand and the oil lantern on the bar. Now, son, why'd you go say something like that?
Should I be waiting for a music change, or am I good?
No, you're good.
Okay. Jens wouldn't say much, he would simply shrug. Just making big talk, Mr. Mary.
You'd see him stare forward a couple seconds at you. You hadn't noticed it, but suddenly the bar had gone quiet. It began to rain, but you don't know when it started to. Had to have been within the last couple of minutes you'd been in the bar it started raining. Son, I don't think you want to go around starting something you can't finish.
It would be good advice, wouldn't it?
You see, he suddenly stood up straight. His shoulders are arced back and up, almost in a tense. You would see as, almost in reaction, his muscles flexed a bit. You could see them tighten against his purple suit.
Jens, for the most part, maintains his composure at the desk. However, his eyes don't move away from the dining room.
Sure.
Blow up all Jens.
No, that was in character. Sure. This ain't gonna end well for you. You would see his eyes dart away from you, looking behind you for a moment, looking back down, looking behind you, looking back down at you before sticking.
Give me a moment here. I would like to roll senses.
You absolutely can.
That's 1d20 right now, right?
Not a D20, a D120.
Yeah, d120 plus 4, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, 55.
Jens. You get this sort of feeling in your gut, the alcohol swirling a bit in this moment as you get a bit of a sickness. Around you, the air became thick. The air became, how you say, strong. How you say, thick. Thick enough to cut with a knife. The people around you even hush their conversations.
Thick. To sick within myself, or aura is like sick?
Sick as in like a bad feeling, bad juju.
Into eyes would roll across the scene, noting the silence. He'd slowly, with some grace, set his glass to the counter before pressing 2 fingers against it, going to stand. Step up from the stool, entirely straight, as he pushes his hands back in his pockets. But not before lifting his hood back up. Perhaps that is enough for talk, Mr. Mary. I have a time to explore.
You see pretty clearly as Mr. Mary bites the inside of his cheek, sort of hollowing it out as it's almost like he's keeping his mouth shut. He looks down and to the right away from you as he takes back the glass that you pushed against the counter and moves to the sink behind him.
Jens would begin making his way toward the door.
As you'd make your way towards the door, you would notice as a couple of people in the bar are now looking at you. Particularly that leather jacket biker, as well as the 4 red-haired dudes. They aren't looking at you necessarily with malice, but sorta sizing you up and down. You hear a whisper.
The door and place his hand on it.
You hear a faint whisper from your right. That man is going to die here, isn't he? No, don't worry. Maybe if he's smart, he'll leave.
I presume I don't have to roll to overhear this whisper.
No.
With this, Jens' head ducks slightly. His face turning from the neutral that it was as he stepped toward the door, and underneath the hood, turning to a disappointment.
The last glance you see inside the bar is Rudo. He seemed to have pulled out a pager as he's sending a message. When you open the door, one of the swing-open doors, you see as the rain has built up around it, sort of making the floor wet as you step outside of it, and the streets have a different air about them. It's about 7:40, 7:45 now, as people are beginning to get off of work. The streets are a bit more full now, as you can see people approaching down One or two Model T cars coming down the street alongside the trolley you can see in the far-off distance going and diving in between streets.
Jens would look left and right down the streets, the sidewalks.
It seems like most of the people are coming from your left, as from the right is where people seem to be heading out of the city. It's not that far from the toll booth.
Jens is gonna examine the extremities, things like maybe the little crook between buildings, perhaps the overhang over his head. Places like that. For any oddities, maybe a little bit of a spherical shape sticking out from the overhead. Maybe there's a elbow poking out from the alleyway. Things like that.
Peering around alleyways, one of the alleyways directly next to the bar you were just in, you do actually see a bit of a shoulder, an elbow, and a leg sticking out of it, looking out towards the street as if waiting for someone. They seem to be this sort of medium build, a little bit shorter than the average person, black hair. Doesn't seem to be a goon necessarily. Maybe someone who just got off work. He has a bag in his left hand, not a duffel bag, but more like one of those clip bags. It's made out of this rich leather with a golden little, bolt that intertwines with itself. Maybe just someone who got off work waiting for their buddy.
Jens would take notice of this man and look at the crowd heading to the right. This gentleman is on my right or on my left?
He's on your right.
Okay, I thought he was on my left, my bad. With this, Jens is going to step forward toward the lawn, the small lawn, and step across onto the sidewalk, hucking his poncho a bit and letting himself disappear into the crowd. The tuck of his poncho letting the green kind of fade into his shirt as the white might have stuck around or made him harder to spot amongst a crowd of perhaps white and black suited and dress-shirted folks.
As you would continue, you would catch the glare of this guy for just a moment. Can you roll me an instinct check?
My instinct? Where are my stats?
While you're
Instinct.
rolling that, the man in front of you is what seemed to be a potato farmer. After all, he was brandishing a potato sack in his right hand, a coarse, unkempt black beard and hair with a couple of scars seeming like razor scratches across the entirety of his face. And this guy, well, he was big and built like a Ford. He stood at 6.5 feet with some chub and a lot of muscle.
I rolled a 6.
You rolled a 6?
I rolled a 6.
As you lock eyes with him and then in the middle of the crowd, give me a moment. All right, I'm sorry, my father needed me for a second. All right. 6. Oh, God.
That's what I said.
Jay.
Yeah.
You, as you're watching this man walk past you, the bit of gruff on his suit, you feel as... I'll give you one more chance. Roll me a maneuverability check, as your trait is going to come into play here.
Alright. Okay, so it doubles my bonus.
Yes, it does.
And you're asking me for maneuverability?
Maneuverability.
Alright.
D120.
11, so 22. 78. Well, back in business, baby.
Instinct doesn't tell you this, but you see as this man raises the potato sack, attempting to put it over your head, you instinctively take a step backwards as he lurches forward, the sack going and wrapping around your... Well, not exactly any part of your body, but pushing against your chest. Your back goes up against one of the people in the crowd as they look back at you and sort of look with a bit of disdain. You would hear as this man would say, "Come on, make this easier on me. Fucking rat 'em, boys, you know what Boss Man said."
I'd like Jens to attempt to slink back into the crowd again, attempting to make himself scarce in this moment. Not fleeing, but trying to get himself lost in the crowd while the man is distracted by his lurch.
This is going to be a pretty hard check. The crowd isn't so big to where, like, you're shoulder to shoulder with everyone.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like, okay. Okay. Jens looks toward the man and reaches toward his back, while simply stating, "I'm afraid I can't do that for you." Before sending his foot forward, he's going to try and shirk out the man's foot on his left, sending his right leg inward, causing him to stumble down.
One more time?
I'm going to kick the man's right heel inward, sending his right leg off balance and causing him to fall.
Go ahead and roll me a musculature check. For this entire battle, your trait will be in effect.
AC +4. It's a 17.
Roll D120s.
Oh, shit. Roll D120.
It's going to be an adjustment for everyone.
So 102!
As your kick lands harshly on the inside of his leg, you see as his knee sort of bends outward and inward, pushing into his other leg as he immediately sort of, not exactly kneels down, but definitely bends down as you feel the man from behind you grip your right shoulder as you do so, yanking you backwards into him. You realize it's a couple of the goons from earlier, those gang boys from the alleyway.
Alright, I'm gonna attempt to send my head back with my ice pipe above it. With how it's on my back, pardon me. I'm gonna try and send this directly down onto the man's head.
Okay. As... Interesting. How would this... Roll me flexibility.
Switch that to a 0 to a 2, Jay. Alright, plus 22, cool. That's a 101!
Holy shit. As when you get pulled back, you go with the flow. You lean back with them as you hear as donk, the fucking metal pipe goes directly against the forehead part of his skull as the hand comes off of your shoulder. He sort of lurches and leans back.
At this point, Jens is going to... Alleyway? Anybody in it right now?
That same suited guy. The one with the briefcase.
Okay. Cool. Jens is going to break through the crowd and go sprinting toward the alleyway.
Go ahead and roll me another maneuverability check. Jesus, he just
95.
he stays when that's not a D120.
I kicked out the bet.
That's not a D120.
D120. It's 22. Watch this activate my bad luck again. Oh, yep, there it is.
Hey, I let you pass a bad roll earlier with the D100. I made you re-roll. You know, it evens out now.
I'm not saying you. I'm just saying it's my bad fucking luck kicking back in because I'm a damn fool. Let's keep going.
We would see as when you start running off, you feel as it's a poncho, right?
It is poncho.
The big hand from earlier that you had originally, made him kneel is now leaning forward and he grabs the back of the neck of the poncho as it yanks you backwards. You sort of...
He's gonna yank me backwards?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna spin out that pipe from its holster, and I'm gonna send it spearheading with the momentum I'm gained being yanked backwards as I whip around and spearhead it into the fucking dome of the guy.
He would see this one coming since you did it before. Let's see. Roll me the same thing. Finesse. It's not a hard check. Not a D120.
Swag. God damn it.
If it helps you, just copy paste the command.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even better, okay.
We would see as you would whip around with that momentum, the metal pipe coming up and out of your cloak as he didn't see it before, but now he sees it in its entirety. You see as the frost builds up in the air, making this little bit of smog in the fall coming oxygen. As boom, you hear as a metal pipe, this man, he doesn't go straight down, but his head leans to the right as you see his orange eyes just sort of flare up for a moment. That scar across his face becoming a new scar as you can see an impact wound across his fucking cheek. It immediately starts to bleed.
Jens would bounce backwards twice toward the direction he was already going. In this moment, using his free hand to tuck the back of his poncho into his pants, as he bounces back slightly twice, and then throws his hand up to his forehead, letting off a two-finger salute. You're gonna have to pardon me, gentlemen, but I think this meeting is all but over, he says as he... Wait, that wasn't Jens. I think this meeting... It's very much all but over, he says as he would whip around on a heel and go sprinting again toward the alleyway.
Go ahead and roll me yet another maneuverability check.
Ow.
With a D120.
With a D120. $55?
You would sort of skirt off, your feet hitting the ground as you're a bit low after the smack, as you feel yourself trip for a moment as you catch yourself beginning to move through the streets. You bump into the first person you're running against, but you quickly skirt around and begin to, you said, head towards that alleyway?
Yeah, we're going to that alleyway with the guy with the briefcase.
As you make it towards the alley with the briefcase guy, you see him sort of look his head up, sort of giving you a friendly nod like, oh, what's good, as you're hit in the back with a paintball. Or, something, how you say, blunt and heavy. It sort of makes your back sting for a moment. You feel it across your spine, send a bit of a shiver. Oh, it has a lot of impact force. It pushes you forward.
Okay, it's going to push me forward. I'm going to use this. Using the push forward, Jens is going to fall off, hit the front of his feet, and break into a roll, giving himself enough momentum to slide either past or under the man in front of him's legs.
Roll me finesse.
What's the D120? What are you doing, Jay? You stupid little shit.
Jesus.
It's a 1 out of 25.
He stays winning. As we see, as you do just as you described, rolling in between the man's legs, as he had come off of the wall of the alleyway, standing up, spreading his legs apart in order to greet and meet you. As you go in between his legs, you see as...
Excuse me, pardon me.
You'd see as he'd quickly look down at your feet as you were already rolling past, standing up on your feet with a bit of a trip forward, but you catch yourself once more, just angling out your arms in this A pose in order to balance yourself. As... What?
Is this a narrow alleyway?
Yes. If you put out your arms both ways, you can touch both walls.
How tall is the building? The buildings on either side of me.
The one on your right it's the 2-story inn, so about 30 feet tall. The one on your left seems to be a complex, so about 60 or 70 feet tall.
Are there any windows or points with which to grapple?
There is one of the fire escapes in which you could pull down, being this ladder with the chain mesh staircase on the side of the building.
It's not down yet?
It is not down yet, but you could pull it down pretty easily.
Why would I pull it down? Okay, Jens is going to, at this point, now that he's up, he's going to bap his pole onto the ground, using it as a standpoint, as he breaks into a wall run, using his pole as a balancer to head his way up toward that fire escape.
Heading your way up towards that fire escape, you hear as the man behind you would yell out, Where are you going? As you quickly springboard like a fucking vaulter, beginning to make it up as you scramble up this fire escape.
Does it lead to the roof?
Yes.
Jens is going to look back with a grin. Greener pastures than this, my friend! Before making his way up the fire escape.
You would see as you would make it up one level, you would look into this apartment that seems to be a bit run down, a bit of mold on the outside window. As you would make it up another layer, you would see as this person is staring out at a wall, looking at you, this little glass door separating you, drinking their coffee as they slowly look up as you move up. You move up another floor, another floor, another floor. As you see people in the alleyway, the man you had just slid in between get shoved into the wall, picked up by the shirt and pushed into it by one of the goons. You hear distant yelling as the big man had made it into the alleyway and begun climbing up the fire escape after.
Is there anything as I'm passing by, is there anything like a potted plant, a big rock, etc.?
Something that would have been not a potted plant. This place doesn't have any sunlight. There would have been a rock. An empty glass bottle.
Empty glass bottle? So, as he's picking up the guy, Jens looking over from a few stories up, is going to be a little cheeky, fish out that glass bottle, which, if you don't mind me saying, I grabbed.
Sure.
Drop that shit like a fucking anvil on the guy's head.
Roll me a tactile check.
120. Tactile, what is my tactile? Ooh,
Tactile's
negative 2. Negative 2. So would that be negative 4 in this case, or...?
No, because your
+0.
trait does not care about character. So it's just a flat negative 2. You
45.
would drop it from up on the heights. As it would land next to him, you see him jump, dropping the guy. It wouldn't hit him, but you would see him visibly piss his pants a little.
Jens at this point is already making his way the rest of the way up the fire escape.
You'd see as the big man, he's sort of sticking his fingers into the brick of the wall as he's carrying himself up, grabbing onto the chains of the fire escape as he is coming after you, though he's only about 2 floors up when you've already made it to the roof.
As Jens gets to the roof, he's going to look around. What are my options?
Well, you're on a roof. You could hop to a building. There is the staircase that leads back into the apartment. You could just stay there on the roof and pick at his fingers when he comes up.
I don't want to kill the guy. He seems like a really nice chap. He spent a lot of time working on himself. I'd hate for all that to go to waste. Jens is going to go toward the... What is the building with the... probably... farthest jump? Not quite say impossible, but improbable for someone without assistance or training.
The one ahead of you to the right. It's about 10 feet up a story, and it's also about maybe 15 or 20 feet distant from the corner to corner.
Jens is going to step over toward the edge of the building and look down at the gentleman racing up the fire escape before poking his thumb back out behind him. "I just hurry up! You're gonna want to see this!" He says as he spins up his pole and goes running toward that building we just spoke about, or at least its direction.
Jens Brunstad! As go ahead and roll me yet another maneuverability.
Maneuverability as Jens rushes toward the edge of the building. This is either gonna make or break the Jens session.
This is either gonna make or break the Jens.
Jens steadies up with his pole, raises it over his head, and goes running forward as if he's about to spear jump as I gulp and press this button. Oh no.
That was a D20.
It's a D20. We have one more chance.
Fuck up that bad? Like 30? Come on, man.
30.
I will give you an additional modifier of another plus 10 on this. So it'd be plus 32. 10? Because this is cool.
Okay. As Jens goes running forward with his pole over his head, he slams it onto the very edge of the building.
That's another D20, you fucking idiot.
Oh my god.
One more chance or I'm taking the D20 roll.
Plus 32. Okay. As Jens raises over and he goes running toward the edge of the building as he slams it down, throwing himself forward and 108!
You would see as when you do this jump, the man's big hand reaches the concrete side of the building, the bit of a rafter that blocks you off from falling off the edge. You see as it dents and breaks some of the concrete, breaking off as he pulls himself up with his other arm. He lurks over. You see as his orange eyes is glaring at you. As you make this jump, the pole slams into the brick of the building. You hear it snap and fall off, but you're already gaining momentum and pushing yourself forward. You're doing this limbics jump. You yell out as bits of rain fall over the side of the building. Your left hand reaches out and comes onto the ledge. You ledge grab as you begin to slip due to the rain. It becomes a bit slippery. As the pole comes up and over the side of the building, you jam it into the wood exterior as you use it as a wedge, a sickle, a rock climbing gear as... You use that upper body strength to wedge yourself up onto the building.
Actually, if I may, Jens kind of throws himself back a bit, plants his feet on the wall of the building before throwing himself over in a flip with a... He would pick up his pipe from the side of the building before looking over at the fine gentleman with the beautiful orange eyes and letting his arms out somewhat tauntingly. Oh, instincts, yeah. 1d20, okay, we're on it.
You roll another d20 this session, we're taking it.
D120. Plus 2. Yes.
As you would look over, sort of triumphantly in your laughter, you duck immediately as a piece of concrete flies over your head. Almost like a bullet. God damn it!
Perhaps this is where we should both say, Arrivederci, he says, as he spins around again and goes running towards the next building in line.
You would see as he would point outwards, yelling your name, Jens Brunstad, you're a dead man as long as you're in Stillheoul. As when you run off to the next building, I think that's a wonderful place to end session, is it not? This man is not catching you.
The chase scene happened.
Well done, the JDs.
Bro, you say well done, but I look at the